صلح به أولها, that the last of this nation will not be rectified and wholesome except by that which was rectified there with the first of this ummah. And I heard Sheikh Muhammad al-Ruki, who's from the ulama of Maghrib, and other scholars say, and this is an ittifaq, Ya'ni al-Quran, meaning Imam Malik was talking about the Quran. They use the Quran to fix their problems. We have to do the same, otherwise our problems will never be fixed. Yes. What? Sorry, what? That the last of this nation will not be rectified except with that which rectified the first of this nation, which was the Quran. So for that reason, we need to understand and that the Sahaba, they had another method with the Quran totally different from us. And that is, they used to have very little Quran memorized during their time. A lot of people didn't memorize the whole Quran because of the fact it took them a long time just to finish verses. قال حافظ ابن كثير. حافظ ابن كثير, he said, أخرج القرآن 5 آيات وأسند من وجه آخر عن أبي العالية مثل ذلك فذكر أن جبريل كان ينزل به كذلك وهو مرسل جيد وشاهده قال ما قدمته في تفسير المدثر وفي تفسير سورة الإقرأ. He says that Ibn Abi Dawood had narrated from Abi Abdur-Rahim as-Sulami, who was a tabi'i, follower of the companions, that whenever he would read the Quran, he would read 5 verses at a time. 5 verses, and he would teach it like that. Now, who was Abdur-Rahim as-Sulami? He was a tabi'i who every chain of Quran today links back to this one man, who links to all of those major companions. Every student of Quran from the tabi'in links back to this man, and from him to the rest of the companions of the Prophet. And he sat and taught the Quran for 50 years till he died. Yes. Abu Abdur-Rahim as-Sulami. He said, also it was a chain of narration also from Abi Aliyah, who was a tabi'i too, also a follower of the companions, that he said that Jibril, whenever he would give verses of the Quran to the Prophet, he would give it 5 verses at a time. So when situations would happen, Allah would send 5 verses. The first verses that was first ever revealed to the Prophet was the first 5 verses of Iqra. Then the next verse was Mudaththir, 5 verses. Allah will reveal the Quran in 5 verses, portions like this, he's saying. He says, Hafid ibn Kathir says that وَاسْتَحَبَّ عُمَرُ بْنُ الْخَطَّابِ أن يلقن القرآن 5 آيات قال ما رويناه عنه بسند جيد. He says that Umar used to prefer, when he was the ruler of the Muslims, that the Quran be taught 5 verses at a time. He says it has been narrated and authentically reported that this was the case. Likewise, Ibn Mas'ud, I mentioned that already. He says, so we understand the importance the companions of the Prophet gave was strong. Their ambition for the Quran and learning it was strong. And that their condition was that they took their time with learning the Quran. That Anas ibn Malik said, if a man from amongst us, حفظ بقرة وآل عمران كان عظيما عندنا. That if a person had memorized Baqarah and Ali Imran, he was looked at as a great man to us. Because he didn't just memorize those verses, but he knew all the legal verdicts in them, the lessons you learned from him in life, and he was living those verses. So if you did that, they used to like, wow, he memorized Baqarah and Ali Imran. See, for us, that's a person who memorized it and he don't live nothing of those verses. but he can recite them beautifully. He sounds real good. But they have no application in how he deals with his kids, and how he deals with his wife, and how she deals with her husband, and how he or she deals with their boss or employees or their brothers and sisters. They have none of it. We didn't pray Isha yet. Your brother's about to pray Isha. And so he goes on, he says, these were the two states. This is how they focused on the Quran during the time of the Sahaba. That they will focus on teaching the tilawah, proper recitation of the Quran, and then they will have the students memorize 5 verses at a time, sometimes 10. And they wouldn't move on till they understood them and lived by those verses. This is very important that we understand this reality of how the Quran was taught, because we, as an ummah, we need to return back to this way of learning so that we can fix the problems that exist in our communities, in our lives. And Allah Ta'ala will bless us in this area. Very important that we understand that. And again, we're going to come to a stop at this point because we've been long. But I want us to understand this reality, is that we are Muslims. And Muslim don't mean you just pray 5 times a day. And you put a jilbab on, sister, and brother, you put a thobe on, and you don't curse and don't be fornicating. That's not just this. Islam has a minhaj an-nubuwwah, a prophetic methodology of life. And a part of that prophetic methodology of life is the Quran playing an integral part into the lives of everyone in the household. We should be raising our children ourselves that there is no life without the Quran. There's no life. Reading the Quran and reflecting over its meaning is supposed to be a part of our everyday life, like eating and drinking is supposed to be a part of our everyday life. And this is something that is important for us to understand. And that we got to return back to that if we want our communities to get better. Because naturally, as Uthman ibn Affan said, لو طهرت القلوب ما شبعت من تلاوة القرآن. That if the hearts were purified, it would never find satisfaction with the recitation of the Quran. It would never have enough. I did enough. I did enough. Many of us read the Quran, and our mind is, I can't wait till I get to the end of the last verse I got to recite. But many of us don't look at the Quran and look forward to finding what will purify my soul. What is in the Quran to fix me so I don't find out Yom Qiyamah that I did this wrong and did that wrong, and I find it through the Quran. Many of us don't do this. And we have to return back to this attribute, back to this quality, back to this part of our characteristics is reflecting over the book of Allah, learning how to recite the Quran, learning what the meaning of the verses is. Well, alhamdulillah, many of us can go buy the books that teach us the word-for-word meaning of the Quran, and then just read it regularly. Arabic, English, Arabic, English, Arabic, English, after you learn how to recite the Quran properly. Make it a lifestyle. Make it a daily routine. And this is what Allah wants for us. The Quran to become a daily routine, a part of our life. Like looking at your phone is a daily part of your life. Cutting on the television is a daily part of your life. The Quran should be the same way, brothers and sisters in Islam. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept from us. And whatever I said was wrong was from me and Iblis. Whatever I said is correct was from Allah. When indeed Allah and His Messenger is free from our errors. سبحانك وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. I guess we can eat unless you have some questions.
Yeah, take questions for 2 minutes.
Okay, 2 or 5 minutes. Any questions?
Know that we have although the Quran is in Arabic, I understand the Quran we find out some Arabic language as a one language. We have English. Now we only have 2 basically tafsir of the Quran is Baseerah and some of
Sa'di. It's others.
Is others?
Yes. It's a translation. I forgot the title. I bought it from my wife. It's Indian-based scholar. Somebody is nice, really good translation. I forgot the title at this moment because I bought it for her. I investigated the book. Alhamdulillah, you know, Allah blessed me to have studied the tafsir of the Quran cover to cover with scholars of Quran. And we learned what are the well-known books of tafsir, past and present. This book is well-known as a good tafsir. Somebody went and translated it and did an excellent job. It was here in the U.S. I actually purchased it here. Darussalam has it. Yes, I bought it in New York. And I'm still sure it's Atlantic Avenue. I think it's on Atlantic Avenue. Yeah, I bought it there. It's a good, really, really good tafsir. Simple. But we have that. So finish your question about that.
Yeah, so in that you find that understanding and trying the student practice of the Sahaba's book is kind of, what is it? It doesn't give us the same effect.
Okay. The brother's asking the question, and sisters who's here. You know, we don't know Arabic language. Our language is English. Our primary language is English, and most of us are not prolific in the Arabic language, where therefore we don't get the same effect from the Quran as the companions of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has gotten. This is true. Well, alhamdulillah, first answer to that question is knowledge is in stages. And the scholars of Islam has categorized knowledge on 3 levels: beginner, intermediate, and advanced.